Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls TV. I am your host, Mike B. Here we are again for another weekly catch-up. So top news, my God, I've just spotted we have reached the 300 subscriber count. I'm looking around because I had stuff I was going to sort out, but 300 subscribers. We are on the big magic 300, my goodness. So I was going to do a giveaway for that. I will now have to get my head together. There was a bunch of odds and sods that I had. I will sort it out for the next video and I'll work out how that's going to work. But I will throw some stuff out. It's not going to be exciting. Calm yourself before I get too excited. But it's kind of a pile of oddments and stuff, like a lucky dip. But we'll sort out. I don't know quite how that's going to work. We're bankrupting me on postage, so we'll look at that and we'll sort it out next episode, next week. But for the time being, let's crack on for this week. Well done, Whoot, for getting the 300. Hello, all the new subscribers that have joined us. Right, so what's going on? News. Who knows? News. Some board game news. Golden Bell. If you've not heard of Golden Bell, they are a company that essentially, if you produce a Kickstarter, they usually jump in after Kickstarter's funded and say, hey, hello there, we can distribute them and post this stuff out for you. We can do this and we can manage all the back end of your Kickstarter. Yay for us. We've done this, this and this. We've got a few licenses attached. We're amazing. And what they are essentially is a shower of shitehawks. There was quite a high profile one they did a little while ago. The name of the game now escapes me as I'm sat here. There's one thing I didn't write down. I'll flash it on the screen. But yes, they were involved in this, and it was a complete and utter cluster entirely. They come in and they just cock it up. I mean, you go and look Golden Bell up on BGG or Google it, you'll find a whole multitude of horrors. So yeah, they are a shambles. Now they've been booted, I believe, off of Kickstarter due to their shenanigans. However, they have now set up their own crowdfunding site in competition with Kickstarter that you can go to, and it's just terrifying. If you look at it, there's the T's and C's is what you're doing. And essentially, you're not allowed to badmouth them, is what the T's and C's say. You're not allowed to say anything derogatory about them if you sign up with them. My warning is now, just from what I've read and seen over the last year or two with them, is you would be off your nut to associate yourself with these people. They are just the worst kind of just carpetbaggery, bottom feeders in the industry. No. So don't go near them, but have a look up and do a bit of homework if you really feel like it. It's great reading. It's like Jerry Springer, the board game. Just a mess. But yes, so they're out there trying to do whatever it is they do. Don't do it. Don't do Golden Bell. So there's that. Other news, rumours of circulating. So, we're in July. So July normally is Gen Con. Obviously, Gen Con is not happening, but there's usually at this point in time a lot of board game releases are announced. A lot of stuff goes on. FFG are known for doing their in-flight report, which kind of lays the land or the geography ahead for the rest of the year as to what they're going to be producing. I'm just going to quickly check. I'm having a paranoid moment. No, I have. I hadn't turned my mic on. I have. That they will do stuff. So a couple of things of nuggets have kind of fell down. One of them was rumours of a TI4 expansion that has subsequently been debunked as a fake, potentially. But yeah, there's a lot of bits and pieces left out of the TI3 expansions. Most of it was kind of condensed into TI4's release, but there was bits and pieces, some of it were quite cool, of the two expansions that came out, the Shattered Empire and Shards of the Throne, that are still kind of not involved, not integrated. So anyway, there was the rumours of a TI4 expansion. It looks like that is maybe a fake. But there does appear to be is that there has been nuggets of truth behind a Descent 3rd edition. And if you've been on any Facebook groups, you will have seen people start shifting their Descent 2nd editions. I've got Descent 2nd edition over there. We only ever played it a few times. Never really got into it. Didn't like the way it worked. I preferred much better how Imperial Assault worked, that you kind of slowly discovered a dungeon. So what we do know is that it looks like via some novels that there is a hint of Descent 3rd edition coming. What that will take in what capacity, who knows? I'm suspecting they're going to take a little bit of niblets from Imperial Assault, how it did its campaign structure, how they worked, and that it was slowly discovering the environments you were in. That would be kind of cool. No doubt there's going to be an app integration in there somewhere, I would have thought. They've done Lord of the Rings to certain degrees of success, and the app seems to be the way of stuff going. There is hints and inferences that they are going to have a nibble at Gloomhaven's throne, so maybe we're looking at a large big campaign game. Who knows? I mean, the problem with FFG is we're going to get that base box that's going to be fullish, but you're going to be signing up for the expansion rollout. So it'd be maybe a cheaper inroad, but essentially it's going to cost you, if not more than Gloomhaven or any of the big sort of Kingdom Death, all those sort of big campaign boxes. You are going to pay it eventually. But yes, so I'm interested to a certain extent. I'm not like leaping out of my pants in anticipation, but yeah, Descent Third Edition is interesting in such a degree. What they're going to do with it. My big issue is that they're tearing off, I think it is the world that Descent is inhabiting. It's not that. It's all very generic. It's all kind of a bit, meh. And that's the big problem, I think, I've always found with Descent and the offshoots of Descent is that the world itself is not that rich, whereas other of these games have done a much better job of that. So we will see. But there was that. Anyway, that's news potentially on the horizon. So I think that's the new stuff. Oh, yes. Price raises. So Asmodee, and I haven't found the initial post, I think it's gone out to retailers, is they're essentially in August, they are going to be looking at hiking prices of board games. They're associating this with the rise in the exchange rate between the dollar and the pound. Brexit is clearly on the horizon. Forget COVID for a minute. Heaven forbid there is another generation defining cock up on the horizon. So that is going to, it's always been long muted that it was going to be a issue for us. It looks like that is now going to come down. And from August, any new releases or anything, orders placed with Asmodee, who essentially have a stranglehold on the industry, that they distribute pretty much all the stuff out, other than stuff that comes from Kickstarter and bits, will be rising the prices of stuff. I think it's about 10% price. So we are going to see stuff go up. So yay for that. But be aware that's coming. That's kind of what we know. What else is going on? Other news, last bit of news for that is PortalCon is this weekend. So there's a virtual PortalCon happening this weekend. I'm working it, so I'm probably not going to see very much of it. But they will be obviously releasing some of the stuff, showing some stuff coming for later on in the year. Some detective stuff's coming, I believe. And a lot of Imperial Settlers and all that sort of stuff. There's the campaign for Imperial Settlers is coming. So that's happening. If you've got something to do this weekend or nothing to do this weekend, there's something to do. So there we go. What have I been playing? Cue music. So yes, what have I been playing? Well, I've played 2 board games, unbelievably. We managed to get, with my Friday group, we did a kind of socially distanced board game evening. We all kind of have been in our own bubbles. It's our bubble. Let's be honest, things have kind of gone out the window. So we did the best with that. I played Whoot. Played a game of Whoot, which I've never played before. Whoot is like the follow-up to Vast. It's a kind of dudes on a map-ish style game. Asynchronous races, so they've all got their own special abilities and stuff. We played a 4-player game of that. Yes, it was a 4-player game of that. I played one of the bonus Riverfolk expansions, which is the Lizard Race. And I struggled with them. They were really tricky to work out, and there's a few grey areas as to maybe what we were doing with it. I mean, I like the aesthetics of it. It looks very cool. Ben had gone deep and big with the money on his Roots thing. He had everything. So everyone else played one of the initial starting races, and I played the Lizards. The end result is, I felt punished. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I would definitely want to play it again, because it's one of those you're going to have to chip at to play a bit more. It had a feel of the Junie vibe to it, kind of, in that you've got the different forces doing different things. Aesthetically looks brilliant, looks really good. I suspect it's quite a solid game to play, but it's one really I need to go back to and play some more. But it looks beautiful and it's aesthetically very good. And I like kind of what it's doing. It's interesting that all the races are doing different mechanisms and doing different things, different victory conditions. It's kind of cool. But, it's definitely something that interested me, even though I did terribly at it. And it's one that I would like to revisit down the road, so hopefully we can do that. And then we played Wingspan, my favourite game. But yeah, we played a game Wingspan, which I won by a few points. I still am where I sit on Wingspan. It's okay. It's a mechanically sound game. I get that kind of it's towards an entry level, even though I don't really agree it is entry level. It's entry level in so much as if you play a lot of hobby board games, then yes. To the muggle on the street, I don't think it is entry level, but it's still winning a lot of things. It's still the issue is with it. Its theme leaves me completely and absolutely cold. It doesn't do anything for me theme-wise. Mechanically, it's entertaining enough. It's enjoyable enough. It does what it does. It's quite entertaining to a certain extent. I'd much prefer sitting down and playing a game of Terraforming Mars. This is a similar-ish engine builder, a bit more complex, I appreciate. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, I would play it again, but I still stand with the thing is the theme absolutely leaves me just devoid of interest. It looks gorgeous and all the lovely bells and whistles upon it. It's an okay game, but there we go. There is people who love it, and I appreciate that they do. But you're wrong! No, not really. And then I played a bit of Project Winter, which I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I think, which is a Steam game, which is like a hidden traitor one. I've not played it with the guys, actually, but I played it just against some randoms. It's an interesting idea. I haven't actually been the traitor as of yet. But yeah, I still need to play some more. I quite like it's cheap on Steam. I think it's about a tenner. So if you pick it up, maybe we can arrange and meet up at some point and play a game of it. I know someone did mention it. But yeah, I think it's got legs. I just need to play a bit more. So that's kind of, I think, what we played. That's covered. Hopefully we'll play some more games this weekend. But yes, we're doing that. Pandemic Season 0 has been teased. So I knew Pandemic Legacy Season 3 was coming, but now Z-Man and Z-Man have announced a Pandemic Zero, Legacy Zero, which is a trailer run, which is like this. Doesn't give us much to go on, to be fair. It's set prior to all the other pandemics. It looks like it's got a kind of 1950s, 60s vibe to it. Who knows what it's going to do? Is it just going to be, I don't know. I mean, I can't go too deep into it because Pandemic Legacy Season 1, there was an underlying thing going on there, which, not to spoil it, it's an old game, you should have played it now, but I'm presuming it's going to pick up story threads of the stuff that happened in 1. There was definitely stuff in there of underlying conspiracy stuff. Didn't really turn up in number 2, which we've still yet to finish because we just struggle with that. So yes, colour me interested. I will have a look at it. We'll see. Well, when we know more. And then also there's another trailer drop, which was for Games Master the movie, which looks kind of cool. It's not available in the UK yet. It's on Apple Store, which is my big problem is because fuck Apple. But yeah, so interested to give it a look. I don't want to give Apple money. I hate their bloody iTunes and that whole of that system is god awful. I used to be an Apple user. I had a phone for years, but their after sale service is shocking. And so yeah, that's my whole beef with Apple. But yeah, as hopefully if it migrates out to other formats and we can catch it on something else, then I'll watch it. But that looks kind of cool. I don't think it's out in the UK yet anyway. But that's Games Master the movie, and lots of names, industry names, and people with faces turning up. And it's some Games Master stuff. Games Master. It's a board game media, which is always worth a watch. We're getting a bit more of that sort of into the public domain. Other stuff you're doing, what I've been doing, we watched the other day, me and the kids watched Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. This is a stone cold piece of 80s joy. This has got Fred Ward, who you may recall from Tremors, is probably one of his bigger sort of things he's been in. He's been in a lot of other stuff. I always kind of like a character actor, Fred Ward, kind of like a lived-in look of character actor. I do like a bit of Fred Ward. He's also in a movie called Miami Blues, if you hunt that down. That's cracking. Anyway, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, was the idea of setting up a franchise based on the Destroyer novels. There's about 5 billion of them, like an alternative James Bond. So this is a really good movie. It's got a fantastic soundtrack, an absolutely stunningly brilliant soundtrack, and it's got some really good stunt sequences, and it's funny and it's really well done. I remember seeing it as a kid on TV and being like, well, this is kind of cool. And the issue is it came out like at the same time with Commando and some other stuff, and the real big problem with this, it just looks a bit cheap for what it is, which is a shame, because it's actually quite a good movie, but it looks almost at certain points like a made-for-TV movie. And its other big issue now, in light of what's gone on, is there is a Korean character in this who's a bit like the Mr. Miyagi to Remo's character, teaches him some very cool kung fu-ish type tricks, is played by a white guy in Oscar-winning makeup. That kind of is a bit of a mess now. It's almost essentially similar of blackface, but not. So if you can get past that, and it is a relic of its times, it's a great movie. It's really funny, really well done. Some really good action sequences in it, and funny and light, and just some good stuff. But yeah, you need to get over that issue. But Remo, very good. So strongly advise to have a look for that if you want. Arrow Video, which actually do that, have got a sale on at the moment. I think Remo's on there for £5. But yeah, have a look at the Arrow Video sale. There's a bunch of really cool cult titles and stuff. Some stuff I've mentioned before in the past is on there. If you're a fan of trashy 80s movies or 70s movies, then go and have a look if you haven't already, and you might be able to pick yourself up a bargain or two. Lovely. Right, that's all of that. Let's move on to Kickstarter news. So one that's really picked out my interest was Adventure Presents The Tartarus Gate. It's coming from Rebellion, who do 12 Years on AD. And this is an RPG comic. So you play it and you take bits out of the book, and it kind of gives you a story and a bit of the comic plays out. It's kind of cool. It reminded me of this, which is also a 2000 AD publishing. This is Dice Man. This came out in, I don't know. It's going to probably be 80s. So we get a date on it. Should have looked that up before I opened it up. Not a clue. 1986. There we go. So Dice Man. What there was a series. I think this is the last one that came out. This is Dice Man number 5. These were for the weighty price of $1.45, and trust me, when you were buying 2000 AD for like 25p, this was an investment. They were a series of comic stories that you played along with dice, like a bit like Choose Your Own Adventure, but with different characters from 2000 AD. Judge Dredd, Rogue Trooper. I think the ABC Warriors turned up in one. This one had Hunt Emerson's doing Reagan. This is kind of a satirical political thing in there, which is kind of really kind of cool. But yeah, they did a series of these, and the Dice Man was the lead character in it, which was what was boosted off the guy kind of using magical powers and weird stuff. A bunch of 2000 AD artists and writers involved in it. And yeah, just kind of cool. Steve Dillon art. I love a bit of Steve Dillon. Anyway. Yeah, Dice Man. So it reminds me of that. I don't think it is like that, but I would really love to see Dice Man be republished or them to do this, because this was a really cool concept, and I love these. There was only, let's say, about 5 of them, I think. I do have them all. But if you can hunt them down, find them. They're brilliant. But yeah, it feels a little bit like that, so I'm definitely on the probably going to back it just because of the whole, no, it makes me of that. So there's that. Adventure Presents Tartarus Gate from Rebellion. It's quite reasonable. I think it's only about 12 quid or something for the first one, and they're going to do a series of them. Other stuff on there at the moment, there's Perseverance, come from Mind Clash. Now, Mind Clash stuff looks always... they did Anachrony, they've done Trickerion, I think Celestia was one of theirs. Their games always look gorgeous, very dense. David Turksley does a lot of designs on them, who did Days of Ire or something, I think it was, which was really cool. I really got excited one expo about that. I love the look of their games. I've never played any of them because they're always kind of quite expensive, and they're quite dense, big kind of teachy games, and they're all kind of doing stuff like other stuff I've got. I mean, this looks very cool. The idea is it's a weird kind of doing a bit of that anachrony time travel-ish, but it's not. You're on an alien world, setting up a colony against alien dinosaur stuff. The board flips, and you kind of, there's one stage is you setting your colony up and surviving against the attacks. The second stage is you, with your colony and walls built, then kind of doing that. So it's a bit of social, economical, worker placement, dice placement. There's a lot of stuff going on. It looks very cool. Again, it's quite pricey to get the big box of all the good stuff. I mean, not bankrupting, but it is pricey. And it's one of those, it's like, oh, it looks kind of cool. A lot going on. It's a bit of this, and a bit of that, and a bit of the other. Am I ever going to play it very much? I don't know. But yeah, it looks lovely, and I'm, again, like Anachrony and like the other stuff in Chakuri, and I'm really like, oh, it looks good. Oh, it's expensive. I don't know if I'm going to play it very much. I'm probably not. So I will probably pass me by again, like all those other games, which are probably fantastic games, just out of my price bracket. So there's that. It's on there. Adventure Prince, we covered Overlord, which is by the guys who did Boss Monster. It looks very reasonably priced, about $40. Great aesthetics. Boss Monster is a game I thought was a wonderful concept that sucks so hard. It's a terrible game in my opinion. Don't like it. I think it's a shitty game. Just doesn't do anything that really it was setting itself up to do. It's very much a throwaway in the realms of Munchkin and Smash Up in my opinion. But this looks very cool. It does look very good. I will wait for retail on it because I was never a big Boss Monster fan, and money's tight at the moment. I can't really afford to be dumping on that. But that might be worth a look. Aesthetically looks kind of cool, that 8-bit graphic-y thing. Maybe a good game. Rado's raving about it, but then Rado kind of raves about a lot of stuff, especially when he's been paid to do it. Nothing against Richard. He's a very nice man. But yeah, so I don't know. Overlook, it looks cool, but yeah, I don't know. Catapult Kingdoms is another one I've seen, which is kind of... crossbows and catapults, it kind of goes back to that. It's quite expensive for what it is. It's essentially plastic walls and plastic catapults. You're flicking stuff, 2-player. A toy value is completely out of the park on this. It's a really kind of cool dexterity toy. But it's quite pricey. And it's like, how often is it going to get played? I mean, Flick 'em Up was kind of cool, but it doesn't get played very much at the moment. Catacombs was a game I really enjoyed. I have the third edition, all the goodness of that. Doesn't get played very often, mainly because I don't find the time. But so yeah, if you're in that ballpark, it might be for you. And last is Not Alone. The suspension for Not Alone. Not Alone was a game I picked up at Essen a few years ago. I'm just looking. I thought I had a box of it there, but it's not. Well, what I've done with that. But Not Alone is a kind of like one versus many traitor game. You're on an alien planet. One person's the alien. Everyone else is placing on different cards laid out on the board. It's a kind of cool, neat little sort of one versus many, really kind of streamlined, simple sort of game to get tables. Only cards and a few meeples. Plays with the base game, plays really well. I know there was an expansion for it already, and this is the second expansion. It's quite pricey for what it is. It's Stronghold, again, we've got the rights to that. I think I'll wait. Maybe I haven't picked up the expansion for it. The base game was perfectly fine, so I might wait and see. It's annoying me that I can't see it. There it is. Excuse me one moment. There you go. It's Not Alone. There you go. There's my version. This came from Geek Attitude Games. This is the original print from Essen a few years ago. It looks very similar to this. Good game. It's nice if you don't have many one versus many, or you're looking for that experience, but really quick and easy to teach and play. It's a solid little game. I really enjoy it. But the base game is pretty solid. I don't really think it needed much more, and I haven't added anything to it. But that might be worth one to look at. But then if you want to get the base game and the other stuff, you're then looking like $60, $70, which for what this isn't a $60, $70 game. As a 20 quid game, you can pick up probably from any number of sites. If you have a look, I'm sure it's still around. Just buy the base game. Very good. I don't think you need the expansions. However, we'll see. So that's all of that. I think, yes, that is all of that. What's going on with me at the moment? There's a lot going on. I'm working on the videos for Board Game Trading and Chat, which is, I'm just trying to work out a format for that at the moment. I've got Shadows of Kilforth, which you can see laid out in front of me, which is, I'm trying to get through a couple of plays of that, solo plays, so I can do a solo review of that. There is a bunch of other reviews that I've got bits and pieces kind of edited in some combination together that I need to sit down and do. Lots of stuff going on. Never, as always, the time to do it all. I'm hoping that this video hasn't timed out. We're going to see in a minute. But yes, I'm going to check that now. So yeah, I think that is it. That is pretty much everything for this episode. As I said, coming up, there is another episode. I'll be doing the board game trading and chat video as well. There's a bunch of reviews to drop. I know I've got to do the Clank Legacy Outbreak video, which is a Kickstarter game coming out soon. And there's something else there which I've edited in some partial capacity, so I need to get that out. And yes, and then I'll look at what we're going to do about this giveaway thing. So awful lot going on. As always, time is against me, so I will try and do what I can with what I can. Yeah, do have been someone paying me to do this, it'd be a lot easier. Don't forget that you can go to the website, which I've got a couple of Charlie articles to put up there. Podcast, I don't know what's going on with that. I'd have to see. Podcast may be getting mothballed, as I just don't have the time to do all this stuff. So we'll wait to see. But yeah, that is it, really. As always, enjoy playing games. Hopefully you get some games in soon. Stay safe out there, as always. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Hello, all new subscribers. Don't forget, as I said, to go to the website whoodesworlds.com, because there's a bunch of stuff on there to entertain yourself for the time being. Definitely got some ideas planned for what's coming up. Lots going on, as always. Always very busy. Always never have the time to do anything we need to do. But there we go. That's us. As always, thank you for the support. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, we have a Patreon if you want to, though I need to relook at that. There's little stuff I need to do. Never enough time, is there? But yes, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for following. Thanks for subscribing, retweeting, and doing any of the stuff you do. Oh, yeah, free Eric Lang. He's been cut off of Twitter. What a shocking debacle. There we go. That's us done for another week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch up again soon, maybe earlier next week. Until then, do stuff related to board games. Probably a good thing to be doing.